Hey guys, how you doing? So as promised, I want to do this testing video of my knife, the Jungle Warrior from SOG. It's a knife, it's a new knife, new version in the, not new version, but new sibling in the Fusion series from SOG. Those are the cheap Chinese knife, cheaper Chinese versions of the SOG knives. And the first version in this category was a Jungle Primitive, which was fairly decent, kinda I would call it machete on steroids. It was chopping well for the money. Back the older version, it was about $34–35, which was pretty good price for the knife you got. You know, you got stainless steel. If I remember right, the old one was Os 8. Now they changed the steel on this new family. They have Jungle Warrior and Jungle Canopy, I think, which is more like a machete style. They changed it to ACR 30 MOV, which is actually, I prefer that steel over Os 8, definitely, in my opinion. But it also depends on the factory, on the heat treat they had and such, you know. So we're gonna see in the testing. Now, there will be two parts because, as I'm gonna show you, the knife is, I think 17 inches if I remember right. 17, no, sorry. 15, just over 15 inches long, and has 9-inch cutting edge. You know, the cutting edge itself, it's I think 16 ounces, just so nice amount, nice weight, 4.5mm thick. So it's a decent chunk of steel. It's nothing super thin, nothing super thick. That's I think 3/16 of an inch thick. Now we have this pretty comfortable Kraton handle. It's a full tank. The tank is hidden in the Kraton, obviously, goes around it. You have 3 lashing holes, which I like, always like that feature. You have the exposed pommel for breaking stuff or hammering the knife into something. It's it has that not checkering, like a jimping on top. Really, this handle is quite comfortable, so you can actually pretty safely break stuff with that pommel. There is no chance that your hand will slip up the blade. But you have very aggressive jimping here on top. I really don't see the point of that jimping here. You're not gonna be using that knife like this. One thing what I would like to see, there is a hint of that. You see the ricasso, they could actually make it a little bigger so the index finger would fit in there, and you could actually pretty comfortably, and then again if the jimping wasn't here, you could actually pretty comfortably choke up on this blade and use it even for the detail work, which would be pretty nice. The whole balance point would move up when you hold it like that, and it would be actually pretty comfortable to do even the small little things with such a big blade. I definitely like how it looks. It looks really cool, you know, the shape and everything. Kind of reminds me of the Persian style knives. I don't know why. I think there might be a little hint of it. It does have that unsharpened switch, so for batoning you will be going through that baton a little more, but it's not sharpened, so it's not that bad. It's definitely, you know, have the design of a fighting knife. But I really think that this might be very decent, you know, outdoor knife. If you know, for the money, it's not bad. I like these big knives. They can get a lot of work done by chopping. Chopping is, I think, the most important thing when you're outdoors. Not so much bottoming, not so much whittling. I think the chopping, you need to just be able to swipe the stuff down with one swipes and stuff like that, and this gives you that power. Now the main thing is, main downside, at least this one I got, it has a really bad geometry on the edge. It looks like way over 40 degrees, you know, conclusive. That means over 20 degrees on each side angle on the primary bevel, secondary bevel, no? Which is way too thick. It's okay, it is sharp, it can cut paper, but you can see, you can even hear it. It's definitely not a nice clean cut. It's rugging it, it's jagging it. Magazine paper and this very thin packing paper, not a chance. Just to give you a, that's Mora, factory edge of Mora. I don't have very good, hold on. Very rugged. This one is sharp. Let me show you on this one. Mora from the factory is nice and sharp. This one, not so much. I used it only a little bit just to get some idea, but definitely not sharp. So I'm gonna cut the video. I'm gonna reprofile it and sharpen it so I can do the proper testing of what is the blade actually capable of. But as it comes, honestly, you will be able only to do chopping and stuff like that, because manila rope, just to give you an example, I cannot even cut through manila rope. That cheap old Mora, you know, it goes through it like butter. This stuff, not gonna go. It's just too steep. That edge is too steep. So I'm gonna cut it, and I'll be back with the reprofiled blade so we can properly test it. Alright guys, so not even 10 minutes later, I reprofiled the blade on the belt sander, just with some 100 grit and 800 grit finish, and about 30 seconds on the strap. You see, I brought up the relief edge much higher. Now the angle, let me see. Now it looks about, I think, under 15 degrees on the bevel, which is, now it should be good cutter. I can definitely see that the sharpness has improved. That's that super thin packing paper. It really takes, it's very easy steel to sharpen, even reprofile. That 100 grit belt took it right off. So now I have a nice, yeah, convex, slightly convex edge. Now the primary bevel is very kind of like a shallow hollow grind. So not my favorite, but it's not very deep. So it's very close to the full flat grind. Now you can right away see improvement on that, on the manila rope. Now it glides through it nicely. This is really kicker for the edge itself. This stuff, it does it super quick, and I don't think this HCR13OV will last very long against this manila rope. You see, it was just a couple cuts. I think I can actually already feel the little difference. Now, wood carving is, cutting into the wood is kind of uncomfortable with this big blade because of the jimping what I mentioned. It's really very aggressive jimping, but it can get the job done. But definitely wouldn't be a knife that I would pick to carve with, you know, do this little stuff. Maybe like a feather sticks. It has a good bite now with the change geometry. It has a fairly decent bite. I like that handle on this. For, you know, on these cheap knives, this gotta be probably one of my favorite handles on the lower end knives, like let's say like Becker's, this Becker's Sox. What else is there? I even like this better than Falkniven, to be honest. You know, it's a little different type of knife. But I can imagine this handle with maybe smaller guard. It's not even the back one, is actually fine. The front one maybe a little smaller with the finger choil. You know, it will be really good overall handle for, you know, a lot of stuff. I kind of like it. You know, it's cheap, Kraton, it won't last forever, but I like that feel. To be honest, I like it. And let's see some chopping. I think that's the main thing this knife is made for. Oh, let me see one more thing. Stuff like this cord pops through pretty easy. Let's see if it can push cut it. It's pretty tricky task. Not really. It just doesn't have that leverage like with the smaller knives. Like let's say with the CKC modified fill knife, I just have the leverage there. I don't have that leverage on this one, and also that edge is not such a great geometry as a full high convex. It's still, you know, it has ways to go. This just small little convex on the edge, on the actual cutting edge, still has a long ways to go to compare to the cutting capabilities of a full high convex like this. It still is a different game. But let's see some chopping, since I have it here. That's the task that I would pick this knife for, definitely. Chop through some wood. Let me move this little... Let's see how, you know, the shock I'm gonna be getting, and how comfortable, and how well it will bite. I think that's what most of us are curious about. That belly works excellent. You see, and that was such a deep bites. Let me show you. Check it out. You have such a good swing with this blade. It's not heavy, so you don't get fatigue so much. It's for, you know, it's still pretty nimble. I like how it feels, and you have such a, you know, the momentum you get with the blade, that it's a great chopper. You have that slight curvature along the whole blade. You know, I would, you know, kind of like a kukri, you know. It's not just straight, and then the little belly that you have to kind of hit with some knives. You have to kind of aim for that belly, where the best chopping capabilities are. With this one, it actually, oh, kidding me, I love this thing. It's not as cheap as the Jungle Primitive, which I think it will go down on the price when, you know, it's still fairly new knife in the market. They all go down with the time, but I think for the money it's definitely decent knife. And let's see, after all this chopping and everything, let's see how the edge lasted. It wasn't much work. I did that little bit of manila rope, some chopping. We might try some splitting since I have it here. There's some easy stuff. Since it's here, why not? Fairly easy. Not a biggie. It's like, these are small stuff, but I wouldn't really be splitting anything much bigger than this. What you see in the YouTube video, splitting big logs, you know, like that. That's not what you're gonna be doing, really, you know. You get big logs like that in the camps and in your backyard, not outdoors. You're not gonna get that outdoors. You know, most of the people do that only for the YouTube videos. It's a good test for the knife, but it's not so important, you know. Any knife will be able to split small stuff like this, you know. And that's the most of the things you will be actually need to split outdoors. You won't have a need to split bigger than this. Maybe twice, you know, maybe this size. If you're going over than that, I think it's really waste of energy. You don't need that, in my opinion. So, you know what, for $50, I'm definitely happy that I got it. Did need the reprofile job, which was a little bummer. I was kind of surprised with that edge it came with, because I remember the Jungle Primitive came with a fairly decent edge. This definitely wasn't a good working edge, the way it came. And with this little work, it held pretty nice. Still sharp, but it was very short because I didn't do much of a testing. But I tested what I wanted. It's great chopper. I think it looks gorgeous, and honestly, I think this is a good looking knife. You know, just the looks. And it works, you know. It does what it's supposed to do. It cuts after some sharpening and reprofiling. Like I said, I could be improved. I don't think the jimping here is necessary. I think it's a little overkill. The finger choil could be a little bigger, which is easy enough to do yourself if you really want to make it a really good user knife. So you would be able to do some whittling with it. Definitely easy fix, but kinda like it. This I did when I was grinding the knife. When I was reprofiling, I took that little paint off. But like I said, it was pretty easy job to reprofile. Took the edge super quick. Holds it fairly well. Let me see if it can shave. Shave only with very little bit with the kind of a lot of force. So it's not that sharp now after this, but it's still definitely sharp enough to get your stuff done. You know, it cuts paper, still pretty clean, and it will definitely conquer wood, no problem. Yeah, so definitely not a bad knife. So you definitely get a lot of knife for the money. I forgot one more thing that I gotta do. I gotta do my kind of usual. I'm gonna make it my usual. The copper cable, category 6 Ethernet cable. Just chop it a couple times and see if we get some rolling, chipping, or any damage at all. At least a couple times. I'm doing one spot. Now this, even though you see that it's not cutting, it cuts inside, so it's getting that recoil. I don't want to bang too much and make too much noise here. It is cutting into that copper cable, so no worry about that. Now, I do not see... I see little rolls, tiny super small rolls, which is actually not bad. You know, I will be able to show you on the camera. Focus first. Here where you might be able to see. You see it right here, right where my nail is, where this finger is. Probably not. They are very small. I actually think that they will have no effect. Yeah, they actually have absolutely no effect on the actual sharpness. Those are like tiny small rolls, and on this paper, you know, the sharpness that it had before, not that very super sharp one, just the regular, you know, regular paper cutting sharpness. It doesn't really have an effect. It still cuts nice and clean. I doubt that it will cut this. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't cut this no more. It's tiny sometimes when I get lucky, but this is pretty hard paper to do. You really need sharp knife to cut this one. It does get it sometimes, but you know, I can definitely see with my eyes super tiny micro rolls, but like I said, no effect on the cutting capabilities actually, which is great. I definitely expected to see more rolling. I know when I did tests like this with steel like OS 8, I had definitely much more serious damage than this. Let me see some freehand. Yep, small little rolls, but nothing too serious. This is actually stuff that even just a strapping will fix up fairly easy. So thank you for watching, guys. Take care, stay safe, and remember, don't cut yourself.